Good morning and thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching Trade Talk on BQ Prime. My name is Mathew and with me is Hiral Dadia. Morning, Hiral.
Good morning, Alex.
Well, 20,000 has been captured and held, at least for now. And the broader market saw quite the relief rally yesterday.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to see how we've managed to close above the 20,000 levels for the first time. So there is that absolute bullishness that you are seeing. But how sustainable it is what we need to wait and watch, because absolute buying was coming in terms of sectors like metals, oil and gas, as well as telecom. If you see in terms of conversations that we've been having with technical analysts as well, what they are indicating is that 19,950 is going to act as a key support zone as well, and 2,100 to 2,150 is going to be the key resistance that we need to wait and watch. Though there are indicators which are indicating that we are in that overbought, zone already, specifically with regards to where broader markets go. Though we did see a relief rally yesterday, was that just a one-off or is that going to continue is another aspect. Now, clearly, if you see, occasional pauses or dips, something similar to what occurred on Tuesday is what we should be anticipating from here on as well. And what analysts are indicating is that all of these dips that we are seeing, in terms of intraday markets should be actually capitalized on, and investors should consider profit taking at higher levels. The key question, overall that we ask over here, Alex, is the risk reward now becoming favorable for large caps versus the broader markets? And the moment you get an answer to that, you know how the money flow will actually be as well. Clearly, if you see the FIs, 1,600 crores is the kind of sell number yesterday. So last 10 sessions, FIs have been sellers, DIs have been buyers. Where the FIs are liquidating position, the fortnightly data that comes in will be absolutely crucial to wait and watch and see, because that will give you a trend as well in terms of the sector rotation, as well as if the rotation is happening from the broader markets to large caps. And very lastly, if you see in terms of stocks, Indiabulls Housing Finance, PNB, Glenmark, Aarti Industries and India Cements. Good volumes is what we saw on these five counters, and the uptick was also pretty strong. And the key event now is the US inflation data today.
No, it's out. So the inflation data is out, 6.7%.
Now, basis that, the Fed interest rate decision next week is going to be crucial to watch out for.
No, certainly. And you said it. That's what's playing out globally. As of now, you have mixed trade in the Asia-Pacific region. And like Hiral pointed out, we'll have to see if these levels are held. To give you a sense of what is playing out in the F&O space, though, we've got Agam joining in to give us the key levels to watch. Agam, morning.
Good morning.
What are you picking up?
All right, Alex. So yesterday, a lot of call sellers were taken by surprise because of the surprise up move that we saw on the markets. And that's a theme that just very well may play out. We may see a lot of swings on both sides, and still expect the indices overall in the long term to perhaps consolidate in a certain range. That said, today is the Nifty weekly options expiry, so a lot of focus will be there. But I'm going to start off with what's happened in the futures. So the September futures has added, less than a year, 0.8% in OI, so not too much change there. But the Bank Nifty September futures has shed as much as 7.1%, and this indicates a lot of covering in terms of the positions. Of course, in terms of the options expiry, which is today, we are watching out for. And today, of course, all the focus will be on the Nifty, because the Bank Nifty and the Fin Nifty expiries are already out of the way through the course of the week. So today, we're keeping an eye on the 20,200 call, which did see a lot of addition in OI. And on the lower end, we continue to see more and more addition around the 19,900 and the 19,800 puts, where also we saw a lot of writing coming through. Besides that, also keeping an eye on a whole host of active stocks. So, as I was mentioning, we are also starting to see a lot of traction around the 20,000 put mark as well, where we've seen significant amount of addition. Finally, moving down to stocks. A bunch of PSUs rallied yesterday, and a significant amount of short covering came through. This was after a lot of weakness that we saw in the 2 to 3 sessions preceding yesterday. So Bank of Baroda and Canara Bank stand out there with significant decline in their open interest, even as the stocks moved up. So short covering there. And Grasim also moved up around 3%, with short covering seen there as well. But once again, all eyes will remain on the index today.
Absolutely. In fact, as Agam was pointing out, thanks for that. But the aggressive put writing and that short covering, that's something which actually helped us see that recovery in the
Absolutely.
second half of the
Yes.
trading session.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting move in terms of intraday. And addition to that as well, if you see the futures open interest addition as well, I think it's positive for almost 8th or 9th consecutive session, right?
Sure.
So there is some bit of conviction that is coming in, at least from an F&O perspective. Let's see what the weekly series tells us as well. Thank you, Agam, for getting us the details. But moving on, you have a whole host of sectors that will continue to remain in focus. One such that we will be focusing on is the auto ancillary pack. To be noted that we don't really know a lot of companies that have already been supplying to Tesla, but the comments that have come in from the Commerce Ministry with regards to the business that Tesla has been giving to India, as well as the uptick they are expecting from it. Let's understand from Rishi what is it and what could be the potential companies that do get impacted as well. Rishi, good morning.
Good morning. So Piyush Goyal mentioned that Tesla has already been sourcing auto components worth $1 billion for the past year, and it may almost double to $1.7 to $1.9 billion for the next financial year. Now, Tesla, according to media reports, has been lobbying for some tax cuts because currently the government imposes a 100% tax on imported cars of value over $40,000 and 70% tax for cars under that value mark. Now, the center, however, has asked the company to commit to local manufacturing before it actually allows for tax cuts. So this is just a background. Now, with regards to yesterday's news, and some stocks may get a boost today after Piyush Goyal mentioned this, but as we said earlier as well, we don't quite know the exact companies that currently supply to Tesla. Some of them of this list may be, some of them may not be, and none of them may be. Like, it can be either of these cases, but they may regardless get a boost as many of the majors like Tesla source. Now, first, I would like to mention Motherson Sumi, which is into wiring harness and vision systems. There's Sona BLW, which has invested a lot lately into EVs, particularly into drivetrains and differential gears. There's also Endurance Tech, which is primarily into brakes, castings, and suspension. It actually recently also made an acquisition into the EV battery space. There's also Minda Industries, Amara Raja, Exide, that are all into EV parts, EV batteries. There's FIAM that is into LED lighting as well. According to some media reports, Bharat Forge and Sundar Industries have already been supplying to Tesla, but we will need to confirm this news as well. The government has also been rolling out a lot of PLIs for the auto components and auto ancillaries. So I believe the stocks may see some action today, but we may need to
And
look
yesterday
forward.
we did hear comments on it as well with regards to the schemes that would be coming in for auto ancillary companies who would be supplying to EV majors as well. So I think a double booster in the offering for auto ancillary companies, Alex.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much, Rishi, for those updates. Remember, in the auto space, there are two ways in which you can bring in cars from overseas, either through a CBU, which is a completely built unit, and that's what Tesla currently does, or a CKD, which is assembled. And the second option, of course, reduces the tax implication in a significant way. Perhaps that is something that Tesla might be discussing in the future, which would also imply an increase in local sourcing. I guess from that list, we can rule out a few of the companies,
Specifically the battery makers as well.
because Tesla, as most people know, manufactures its own batteries. All right, let's turn attention to Bombay Dyeing, because this is going to be a stock that could see action in trade today because of the announcement of a very large land deal. One particular consultancy, real estate consultancy, has said that this is not just the largest land deal in Mumbai. It could very well end up being the largest land deal in India. We've got Mihika joining in to give you some perspective on that. Mihika, morning.
Morning. So the board of Bombay Dyeing and the manufacturing company has greenlighted a proposed sale of the company's 22-acre land parcel in Worli, Mumbai to Goisu Realty Private Limited, which is a subsidiary of the Japan-based Sumitomo Realty and Development Company. The total consideration for the sale stands at 5,200 crore rupees, which is interestingly higher than Bombay Dyeing's 2,900 crore market capitalization. The building on the Worli land realized around 22 crore of only rental income last fiscal, which represented about 0.8% of the total revenue. Now, the sale will be held in 2 phases. Upon approval of the shareholders, the company will receive about 4,675 crore rupees from the buyer in phase 1. And the balance amount of 525 crores will be received upon completion of certain conditions by Bombay Dyeing and the agreement execution for phase 2. The company is carrying out this sale in order to deleverage and strengthen its balance sheet in order to have funding for future real estate projects. On the completion of the sale, the company will record a pre-tax profit of over 4,300 crore rupees, and it will also report a strong positive net worth and be able to pay future dividends. Proceeds from the sale will be also used to pay off the company's borrowings, thereby saving interest costs and removing charges that have been held on the collateral or the pledged assets. The company is also in principle approved development of unutilized land parcels held by the company. These land parcels have a potential to create about 3.5 million square feet of residential and commercial property, which would realize a revenue of about 15,000 crore rupees over the next few years. The company will follow phased development for better cash flow management and will continue to explore more joint developments and partnership opportunities. Now, these recent approvals are very much in line with the strategy that the company laid down in March 2022 in order to change its future trajectory. The 2022 strategy said that it would lay more emphasis on the realty side of the business to drive for future growth and profitability. It also stated that the company will develop its unutilized land parcels and monetize on its land bank, which it clearly did so. And the company is also set and it aims to deleverage the company in order to improve its credit rating and also help future funding for its real estate
Interesting.
projects.
So, and by the way, interestingly, the stock was up about 7% in trade yesterday.
Something that the markets were anticipating
And
already.
the other interesting aspect is that the proceeds of this, though it's split in 2 parts, most of it is coming in the first phase. And that first phase itself is larger than the market capitalization of Bombay Dyeing as it stands right now.
2,900 crores, right?
Yeah.
The market cap and the deal worth 5,000 odd crores.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
an interesting fact over there. And let's see how the stock reacts in trade overall. Thanks, Mika, for getting us the details. But moving on, a whole host of pharma names that continue to remain in focus, along with a few others. But Bajaj Healthcare and Suven Pharma will be in focus. We have Varsha standing by to take us to these 2 names as well as the others. Varsha, what do you have in store?
So let's focus on few stocks that one should watch. So starting off with IRCTC. Now the company signed MOU with Maharashtra State Road Transport Corporation to enable MSRT's online booking, bus booking services via its bus booking portal. Now this partnership will enable passengers to book their MSRTC's bus journey tickets through the IRCTC portal, and this is expected to be operational by the end of this month. The next company that we have is Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail. Now, Louis Philippe which is owned by Aditya Birla Group, has entered into the Middle East region with the opening of brand's newest outlet in the UAE. Besides, Aditya Birla plans to increase its retail footprint by launching several additional EBOs, that is exclusive brand outlets of its brands throughout the Middle East in the near future. Then we have Suven Pharma. Now, the government on Wednesday approved foreign direct investment of up to rupees 9,589 crore in Suven Pharmaceuticals Limited by Cyprus-based Berhanda Limited. Now, the approval is for acquisition of up to 76% of the equity shares of Suven Pharma by Berhanda Limited. Now, this would bring the total foreign investment to 90.1%. Now, this acquisition would be made by way of transfer of shares from existing promoter shareholders and public shareholders through a mandatory open offer. Also, this is in line with the foreign direct investment policy regime for the pharmaceutical sector, which allows 100% foreign investment under the automatic route in greenfield pharmaceutical project and up to 74% in brownfield projects, beyond which government approval is required. Now, Advent funds, which are under the management of American company Advent International Corporation, hold the entire investment in the foreign investor firm Berhanda. Now, it has made investments of about $75 billion in 42 countries, while Advent India has invested about 34,000 crore in 20 Indian companies across healthcare, financial services, industrial manufacturing, and IT services. The release also highlighted that the total FDI inflows in pharmaceutical sector has been been rupees 43,713 crore during the last 5 years, that is from FY19 to 23. The sector has witnessed significant FDI growth of 58% in the last financial year. The next we have Bajaj Healthcare. Now the company has received establishment inspection report from US FDA for pre-approval inspection at its Vadodara plant with 0483 observations. Now, this EIR serves testament to upholding global standards of quality and compliance. Also, this plant is EU GMP certified. The receipt of the ERI also opens up the opportunities for filing companies' own drug master files with the US FDA, as well as CDMO opportunities that companies eyeing with various customers across the globe. Also opens up business opportunities in Canada, Brazil markets. And since this is pre-approved inspection, chances are that the company might have orders in hand already. And then we have Reliance Retail. Now, Reliance Retail is in talks to raise 1.5 billion US dollar from existing investors, including sovereign wealth funds of Singapore, Abu Dhabi, and Saudi Arabia, according to some of the media reports. Now, the talks are part of internal target to raise almost 3.5 billion US dollars by the end of September this year. And out of that, 1 billion US dollars investment has been committed by Qatar Investment Authority. And earlier this week, KKR and company also announced an injection of $250 million. Now, out of $1.5 billion, Singapore's GIC, then Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund are looking to invest at least $500 million each in the Reliance Retail. Now, they will value the retail arm at almost 100 billion US dollars. GIC, PIF, and ADI are among the world's biggest investment funds, and they own almost 4.4% stake in the Indian retailer. And Reliance Industries, the retail arms parent, also plans to invest in the ongoing fundraising.
All right. Thanks so much, Varsha, for bringing us those updates. Let's stick with stock-specific news. And in fact, we're joined by Saloni now to take us through another list of companies that are in the news. Saloni, morning. What are you picking up?
Morning. So first we've got NBCC. So the company signed a quadripartite memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Steel, Rashtriya Ispat Nigam, and the National Land Monetization Corp. As per the MOU, NBCC would act as the technical transaction advisor and assist the three in monetization of non-core assets of RINL at Visakhapatnam. The company also received a work order from SAIL. So this is a 180 crore order received by the company for project management services at SAIL's Bokaro plant. And then we've got Adani Enterprises. So the wind energy solution division of the company, which is Adani Wind, announced its 5.2 megawatts wind turbine generator, which is India's largest turbine, which received a type certification from the German firm Windgard. So this enables the company to start production for the global markets. Next, we've got KPI Green Energy, which successfully commissioned the 7.8 megawatts wind solar hybrid power project, which comprises of 4.2 wind capacity through the company itself and 3.6 megawatts solar capacity through its subsidiary, which is KPIG Energia, for the company's client, which is Mono Steel India. Lastly, we've got Lloyd's Engineering Works, which was formerly known as Lloyd Steel Industries, which entered into an agreement with Bhabha Atomic Research Center for the transfer of technology of multi-effect distillation with thermo-vapor compression desalination technology, the license for which will aid the company in executing orders related to desalination, and the license will be valid for 5 years from the date of commencement of the agreement. This technology tie-up would also assist the company on a long-term basis as it helps in further diversification of the order book.
Right. Thanks, Saloni, for getting us the details. A whole host of names that do remain in focus in today's session, and two from the entire list that from the pharma back that continues to remain in focus, as Varsha was mentioning, because yesterday's session as well, we did see a good uptick in names like Glenmark, Ajanta Pharma, Granules, strong moves that were coming in there. So probably that could continue in today's session as well. But let's shift focus to the primary markets. You have Sami Hotels that will be in focus, that where the IPO opens up today. I think 616 odd crores is what they've managed to raise through the anchor book. Himansh is standing by to get us more in terms of what is it about and which are the peers that get impacted.
So a whole host of peers that would be impacted, but the market is showing an increasing appetite for these high value IPOs, and now we've got two that open for issue today. Firstly, we have Sami Hotels, a hotel ownership and asset management platform. So the total issue sizes are set at 1,370 crores, of which 1,200 crores is a fresh issue or allocated for prepayment and repayment of their borrowings of certain subsidiaries. The company also has a third largest set of operational keys in its inventory, and the portfolio comprises of almost 4,000 hotels across 4,000 keys across 31 operating hotels. And they're located in various urban centers across India and metro cities, which are seeing an increasing demand from both from domestic customers as from foreign travelers that are increasingly coming into these cities for business and leisure purposes. Now, company has raised about 616 crores from anchor investors, like you rightly said. And a substantial portion of this was subscribed by the government of Singapore and the Monetary Authority of Singapore. So is it worth subscribing? Well, the viewers, you have to keep in mind that the company had incurred losses for the previous 3 financial years, and they also have a negative net worth. The company also has a very high debt to equity ratio of standing at 3.45 times, with the current portion of non-current borrowings and interest standing at over 2,000 crores. So the burden of this debt financing may limit business expansion opportunities down the line. And the business is also seasonal and cyclical in nature. The revenue per available room, a very key metric to monitor for hotel businesses, it fluctuates between 3,300 to 3,900. Almost 4,000 between the first and second half of the year, as it was observed in the financial year 2023. But overall, the prospects look good for this company. And if our viewers want to tune in and listen to IPO Adda and find out more details from the management, that could give them a better direction and sense as to subscribing to Sami Hotels is worth it or not.
That's a very good point. In fact, let's also talk about the second company that you have information on, that's Zaggle.
Correct.
What can you tell us about this issue?
Right. So Zaggle, it's another prepaid. So Zaggle Prepaid Ocean Services, a fintech company, plans to raise about 563 crores, and a lion's share of that, 392 crores, is a fresh issue. And so about the business, the company operates in the business to customer segment and offers solution for spend management through its prepaid cards, and also has an employee management service. So overall, it has 50 million prepaid cards that are issued by our banking partnerships, and it has so far served over 2 million customers. So Zaggle Prepaid has raised 253 crores from anchor investors yesterday ahead of its IPO, and the price band for the issue is fixed at 156 to 164. I heard Neeraj earlier today in Trade Setup saying that he has spoken to some analysts who speak highly of this IPO. So that could be a key thing to look out for. But coming back to the risks, that the IPO, the company does not have any listed peers per se in India or abroad, making it difficult for investors to benchmark the performance and evaluate the the financial performance so far. But the company experienced negative operating cash flows in financial year 2023, and also had a negative net worth in the preceding 2 fiscals. And the company is also exposed to the counterparty risk, which is the case with a lot of financing companies. So these are the few things to keep in mind. But besides this, I also have the subscription data for day one for RR Cable that we spoke about yesterday. So the IPO has been subscribed 25% as of day one. And although institutional investors have not subscribed yet, non-institutional investors have subscribed by 29%, and retail investors have subscribed by 36%. And whereas the employee reserve portion has been subscribed by 58% so far.
Thanks, Himansh, for that. It's interesting, at 25% subscription, and with this, 2 other interesting IPOs, as you mentioned, are opening, Zaggle as well as Sami. So let's see where the fund division actually happens. And the IPO market is also buzzing because apart from these that you mentioned, you have Yatra, JSW Infra, Signature Global.
Right.
All of these are in the offing. So I think, Himansh, it's going to be a lot of work for you to actually cull out as to what are the other IPOs in the making from here on.
Right. And even for investors who might just be spoiled for choice as to which ones to subscribe for.
You
But
said it.
certainly a very interesting time ahead.
I have a question though. Is it Kabel or is it cable?
So Kabel, from a German perspective,
Yeah.
that's how RR Kabel. But let's see what the management calls themselves as well. RR Cable or RR Kabel.
So and Hemant said exactly the right thing. In fact, he stole my line, but I'm going to repeat it. All of these companies do speak to BQ Prime, and you'll find all of those interactions on the IPO Adda show. In the meanwhile, that brings us to the end of this edition of Trade Talk. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing it to you. Do stay tuned. Lots more coming up over the course of the day. And this is BQ Prime.